right. So, how is everybody doing out there? It's the middle of the week and I'm doing a tea time. Just thought I'd jump on. But I thought this earlier today, so I'm here. And so I'm trying to go off the top with this. Just call this Let's Talk. I'll title this later. This is tea time. And before we get started, you know how I like to do. So let's think about good things. Let's think about pleasant things. Let's think about whatever makes you smile, whatever makes you laugh, whatever makes you feel good. Think about that thing, that time, that event that made you smile till your cheeks were hurting. Think about that time, that time where you were cracking up because something was so funny. Think about that time where you felt so good, you felt light as a feather. Think about that. Think about that. So this is Nimbus Intuition, and this is tea time. And so I'm coming to y'all tonight. Like I said, I felt like I wanted to come on. It's no particular topic. I'm trying to just go with the flow tonight. And so, and that's what I'm gonna do. So most of this month, I've been talking about No Fap November things. And so that's the month we're in. This is the challenge month. And this is the month where people decide or some people decide to go on a journey of celibacy, basically. And that's people on NoFap, and NoFap is a journey that men usually take. And then there's celibacy. And that's another journey. Okay, I'm just trying to get this lighting together because it's going all over the place. All right, and so with that, that's what I've been talking about. But I don't want to limit the conversation to that today. It's actually not a very small topic because it gives me the opportunity to talk about becoming, getting to know yourself. It allows me to talk about Solo 69. That's the book I put together about the benefits. And in that, it's about knowing yourself. And so I got the first part available, but that's not what I'm here to talk about. But I did need to bring it up because it's so expansive. And because it's art, then it's a good thing. Sometimes we don't think about it until later on. We had life going on and we've gone through this and we've gone through that. And it's interesting how, life brings us back to square one. When we're not having a certain path that we go on, and then eventually after all these experiences, we wind up back at square one. And what I think square one is back at that place where we have to get to know ourselves. I think it's we kind of force back into that place because that's what I think it's about. Especially when we go through this and we go through that, and we have experiences, and we realize that that's what it's all about. And so back at square one we go. And so knowing yourself. It just so happens that, we're in this month as a this time, right? All right, and so I'm still just trying to flow. I don't have a particular topic, although I can, go for a number of things. But I was just talking to someone, and it's been a topic that's been on my mind as of late, and I think that I should touch on it, and maybe I will tonight. It's about relationships, and that's a big part of what I talk about, because what we are going toward with is a relationship. Not only that, relationships are life. That's the whole, everything's a relationship in life. And so it's not just our intimate relationships, it's our relationships with our family, strangers, the world, God, even. And so everything's a relationship. And so I shall talk about relationships all the time. Spirituality is a relationship that we have with ourselves. I think God and then ourselves, and then it goes outwardly from there. And so I'm flowing. And so I don't know, I just want to flow, and whatever comes to me, I want to go ahead and talk about. Yeah, I was being silly yesterday, playing my little jacked up rendition of what I've been learning and everything. And it's interesting how when you put on a spot to do something, it don't turn out as quite as well as when by yourself and you doing it. You ever wonder why that is? As I'm telling you, I do so much better if when I'm not on camera when it comes to that. And so it's interesting. And actually, I might redeem myself before I get off of here today, because I can do better. So I might just redeem myself a little bit. Yeah, everything is a relationship. And so it's been a few things on my mind, and the one that keeps coming up is about toxicity. That's the one that keeps coming up. And so I think I should talk about it. Now, we as I think a country, we have a lot of challenges as far as where we need to be. Like, I don't know if it's the need to be, but we got a lot of challenges as a country to do. We do. And it goes into our families. It goes into, outwardly from there. Like, we have a lot as far as that concern. But that's where we can cover that topic of toxicity. But I think with everything, I think every point in our lives, when we figure out something about us, about something that we need to do shadow on, is about being aware that we need to do it, first of all. So if you smoke cigarettes and you don't see anything, you don't see an issue with it, you won't go trying to quit until you feel that it's an issue. You won't attempt to try to quit. And so I think it's a awareness thing. And this lightning is really messing up. I don't know what that's about. And so hmm, I think I heard recently it's something about spirits being around when you sneeze or something like that. That's why people say God bless you, something like that. I hadn't heard that before this year, but I wonder how many other people, what are other people's beliefs around things like that? When you sneeze, what is that? What is the spiritual meaning? Um, anyway, back to I don't really have a topic. I'm just trying to flow with it. But it's been it's come up at least twice today, and then earlier in this week also. This I think toxicity. And so it's something I really didn't even understand for a long time, because I didn't think that that applied to something that was going on in my life at all. Like, to me, that's something like a new phrase that people were talking about. And like dysfunction is one thing, but toxicity, that's a term that is more recent, I think, that people have been using. But I think it's in the same, realm as dysfunctional type behavior, right? So that's been on my mind, right? That's been something that's come up in conversations I've heard. Like I said, well, a few times this week, and so I think, like I said, maybe I should talk about it. So again, I didn't really have that kind of. I didn't think anything about it until recently. Dysfunction, like I said, is another thing. So my thinking about it, because drawing from our own experiences and that, I've always been, fortunate. I feel blessed to not have entered anything that was what I thought was dysfunctional, or what would be called now toxic, right? So what is it for you? Like, I really want to know people's thoughts about toxicity. Like, is that something that is it's like the word narcissist? Um, People weren't saying that a few years ago much at all, and now you hear it all the time. Anyway, the toxic thing. So it's kind of a situation or terminology, like I said, that I really hadn't even thought that pertains to anything that was going on. But now it's something I've had to reflect on and see, what's this toxic thing that people keep referring to. I really wanted to look into it. And as I saw different things about it, some of it like, okay, well, some of it is like, I think when I've seen it depicted, when I've seen it talked about, when I've seen it referenced, it's it's talking about people who are maybe not doing good things in each other's space. Maybe that's it. And I'm still like, you see me still like reaching for um full comprehension of this toxic thing, because I don't really I don't have the full epiphany about this thing here. And so I've been looking at it a little bit. And because it's come up, and I saw something recently that I thought was broke it down in a way that I hadn't heard it before. Broke it down in a way that made more sense to me than other times I've heard it. Because other times I've heard it, people are not. It is not clear. I don't think, um, or at least to me, it hadn't been very clear. Um, so what I realized in thinking about it in my own space is, and I've had to think about, do I display any kind of behavior that can be considered toxic? Because you always want to, before making judgments about people, or making or talking about anything, you kind of got to look in the mirror about it yourself, right? And so I to kind of see my reflection as far as what it is in my own life. And I was just talking about this. I've been around situations in my life that would, if I talked about it right now, would be considered like toxic behavior, like in family situations and maybe work situation type of memory comes up, and a couple of different situations here and there that would fit the description that I've been hearing, the description that has been, that I've come across about it. But as I think about it, to me, like I said, it goes into the dysfunction type of thing that I know of to these times, right? And so, um, I don't know. Like I said, it's something I want to think about. When it comes to knowing yourself, though, this is something that, like I think, goes into shadow work, like I said, but it's something that we have to like know about us. We have to know, like you see me struggling to kind of have this full um, grasp of this particular topic. But that's something that if um, if I want to join someone in a relationship, I need to know about myself before going into the relationship. I need to know if that's me. I need to know, even if it's not me, I need to know what it is so that if I see it in the other person, I can recognize it. I need to know these things. It's just stuff that you need to know. And so this is the kind of thing that we have, and we take time out to be by ourselves to kind of recognize these things. Because as we learn about ourselves, some of the things that we have to learn about are the positive, as well as the negative. And that's why this can go in the shadow work. And so this is a type of this is one of the examples of what we need to do as far as getting to know ourselves and just in general getting to know things before we enter relationships. And so as I'm thinking about this topic, it's like I have to go, I'm trying to be objective with this. So I don't want to go too personal. So it's two people who don't do things that are good for each other. That's what I've come to um, that's how I've come to comprehend it. So it's the couple who I'm trying to think of a scenario. It's the couple who I guess it's the couple who the guy would knowing knowing his girlfriend. I don't know. I'm just trying to make up a scenario. Knowing his partner, he does things that he knows would hurt her feelings. He does it knowing that it would hurt her feelings, and vice versa. She knows that these things would hurt his feelings, so she does it intentionally. And so maybe I can say that it's an intentional, um, two people who are intentionally doing things to hurt each other. Yeah, maybe that's it. And so I important to talk about this, and I'll talk about this some more because I really have to come up with a full way to talk about it because I think it's important. I, again, because it hasn't been in my space or in my frame of mind until you know recent times, and so it's I'm at the same place that you are maybe who have not really considered this stuff, you know. And I'm the type of person where things happen, um, I try to stay present. I really do. I try to stay present. When things happen, I push into the back of my mind. It's like I don't stay in the past. And unless I'm talking about, visualization, I really don't try to stay in the future either. And so I really try to stay present. And so it takes me a minute to kind of, you know, pull up the memory that would, is back somewhere that is related to what I'm talking about. Um, but I'm sure there are some because I've had lots of experiences through my life, and I'm sure there are some because, like I say about the world we are in, we have a lot of dysfunction just in general. And so um, we have a lot of healing to do. And with that, that's going to be that's going to be something that comes up in all of our lives. And I'm sure it may have already, but it's about recognizing stuff. It's just like I said, the person who has no problem with smoking is not going to try to quit until they feel that there is an issue. And so recognizing, have you been in anything that would be considered toxic, or do you display that kind of behavior? Um, and so I don't think we do that intentionally. But I know what I just said, right? I don't think we do that intentionally if we really love each other. This lighting is really cute. They keep going dark and light, but I don't think we do that intentionally if there's true love there. Because why would you want to cause harm and hurt to someone that you love? It doesn't make sense. So I think that it's not intentional, but it may be intentional that it happens. However, recognizing it is key. Okay, so some of the things that I've heard recently is like someone going through somebody's phone to try to see if they are not, being truthful, if they doing stuff, if they whatever, that kind of thing, or making someone believe that they are not trustworthy, like accusing people of things. I've heard, what I've heard, like different things like that. I have to pull up this one piece that I saw on it that, like I said, was really a good one where it kind of broke it down in a different way. But it basically just like I said, it kind of just revealed that it's about two people who are doing things that hurt each other. And so um, that's what it seems to be. So, and it's easy to see something in somebody else. So that's how I'm trying to think of stuff. And it's like, oh, and I got to go to celebrities because that's something that we go to, right? Because we want to keep it, not so personal. And I don't know. I don't know. So this is the thing. We got to figure that out, right? I think what things that I recognize about myself, and it's something that you have to think about in your own life, is I don't, I think it's, I have some Libra in my chart, right? So I don't deal with conflict like, um, I don't deal with conflict. I really don't. It's like I will squash it, or and so I was playing Kumbaya because I thought that was funny. People talk about how I'll be like Kumbaya with everything, but that's part of my, that's part of my makeup. I want everything to be love, and so when it comes to conflict, I don't really deal with conflict. Like it's not something in my space. Like I just know comes up. It's like I'm just not gonna be a part of it. And so, um, but I recognize that that can that, and this is something new for me. And it may be something that when you think about your own situation, that you can, recognize in yourself. Because I think that sometimes we don't know, but then it comes a time where we get an awareness, and now we know. And so maybe that can, be toxic behavior. And now as I've been thinking about it, up that, I got a close relative who had this kind of similar behavior that I have. And I kind of connected the dots on that. Like, I'm repeating a pattern, possibly, because I just won't deal with conflict. And it's not that it's fear, because I'm not scared of anything. The one fear I had, my inner work has taken care of that. And that's like, I would say almost gone. Like the one big fear that I had. And I don't walk in fear. And it's not about fear, it's about just not dealing with it. So I remove myself from conflict. I remove the conflict from me. It's one of those two things. It is not, but then as as I'm studying this topic, I realized that this may be toxic to someone in my life that is dealing with my no conflict, personality. Um, and so it's about awareness. It's definitely non-intentional. I don't, wish to hurt people. And I really have to take this time to say to people, like, if I've ever caused you harm or hurt or anything like that, I'm intentional. I got too much love in me to be trying to hurt people. And so that's never my intention. And so if I have caused any hurt or pain, I apologize for it because I don't work in doing that. I think um, that's where you can I don't know. I've seen so many people like change due to hurt. Hurt is not something to like play with. And I think people who intentionally go around hurting people answer to God, because you can really hurt someone to the point where, they're just not themselves anymore. And so I think that's not a good thing at all. And so I don't want to be the person who hurts people, and I definitely have not intentionally done it. And um, so that's out there like that. When you get to shadow work, though, when you start doing your shadow work, you have to think about these things in your life. So if you come to a realization about yourself, such as this, you have to ask, like, what is it about me? And I'm using myself. I know that it's part of my makeup because I'm into astrology somewhat, and enough to know that it's part of my makeup. But when I have to think about it shadow work wise, I have to think about, well, why do I not deal with conflict at all? Why do I just not deal with conflict? And I have to answer that. And I have a lot of things that I can put on that answer because I've seen so many things growing up in New York. I can probably write some books that, yeah, man, I can write some volumes of books about some of the things that I've witnessed, some of the things that I've been through, some of the things that have gone on. And so conflict, always somebody getting hurt, when I think about my past, somebody's getting hurt when it comes to conflict. Like even to the point where, um, you know, it's no going back from it. It's not any coming back from it. That's kind of conflict that I've seen. in my past. And so if you're doing shadow work, you got to kind of detail that out and like, okay, why why do I feel that, you know, that way about the conflict that I've seen? What makes me feel that I don't need to be a part of conflict, or why I don't need to deal with conflict, why I need to get away from conflict, and answer that. And you have to know yourself. It's not only about the way that I've seen it, you know, in the past, but I know the dark side of myself too. And you have to know also the dark side of yourself. You got to know all the sides of yourself. And um, and so that's the kind of thing you have to ask. And I know um, we recently, it was a recent death that happened this week. Um, and that's the kind of thing that happens in New York and used to happen, you know, on a regular basis. And not, you know, New York is so many people that live in New York, but it's like a small place at the same time where you know everybody and everybody it's kind of like a community. How is a lot of people there, but it's a community. And so that scenario, while it seems it would seem a unique situation, it's not. And so this is, you know, some of the things that have, you know, happened around me as well. And this is conflict. And so um yeah, I'm about love though. So that's another part of it. I want, you know, I want people to get along. That's that Libra in me too. I want people to get along. Not to the point where I'm a people pleaser, because I'm not a people pleaser. I really don't. I have no, you know that saying. No. However, it's nice when people can get along. And so that's the preferable thing. So I've been a person who I go to the office and, you know, I get people to talking. I get people talking about this, and then, you know, I get a whole conversation going around the office and everybody's talking to everybody, that kind of thing. Right. Why not? And so, especially the person who may look like they are, you know, in a corner, quiet, not saying anything to anybody, that type of thing. And so, yeah. But yeah, it's something that you have to think about in your own life. And if you've grown up in a similar ways, I don't know how. Like I said, it's more than what I grew up around. It's more than that for me, because, like I said, it's part of my makeup. But yeah. So once you go through all the shadow work, you ask those questions. You ask that. You go to the point where you cannot go any longer. And I haven't done it myself completely, because this is something I've recently have even thought that I should do. How do you then, you know, things you can do instead of whatever it is that you've been doing? I don't know. This is all a new aspect for me, and this is the stuff that we do, and it's a long time coming, because y'all know I don't got no wetness behind my ears. And so that this is something that has come up for me now, and I'm not 20. It's like, you know, and so, but that just goes to show you that life, this journey that we on, you know, is never ending. You're always learning, you always growing, you always learn things about yourself, and especially when you get on a journey like this. But sometimes things have to happen first before you can even have a realization of sorts. So it's important to do, and then to talk to people in your in your world about it, because had this not come up in a particular way, it wasn't it still wouldn't have been in my space. So it wouldn't have been something that I would have even thought about. And so that it has come up, I feel like I need to address it. And it's not to try to go backwards in life, it's not to go back to the past or anything. It's just to realize that I may be a cause of hurt to someone else that wasn't intentional. And if I've done it to this particular person, then maybe I've done it before and wasn't that I have. And so, um, yeah, and so that's it. It's like now I can, I have another understanding of how, another perspective that I can kind of have when I do shadow work. And this is the time to do shadow work, as a matter of fact. Let's look. The Inner Work Journal is something also I have available. And it is available. Um, I have to leave some links. I've been talking about stuff and not leaving links. I got to leave a link for it. And the shadow work part is in there, but you're doing affirmations and you're doing gratitude and you're meditating as well. These are all things that's important. These are things that I can testify in my own life that have brought me out of depression and it's kept me out of depression. I can smile all the time, even when I'm going through rough things, because I'm doing that inner work. That inner work, connects me in ways that I haven't been before. And so I urge everybody to start doing inner work. Even if you don't do it with me, do some inner work and it will change your life, like internally, because everything starts from the inside. I am so much better than I've been in, before I started doing inner work, that it is like it's a beautiful thing. All right. And so find you can look up what I'm doing. I still got the podcast up there, Inner Work Journal podcast. You can meditate with me and you can listen to affirmations and do some gratitude affirmations as well. I do the whole thing on there. And so you can do that as well and just pull that up. And that's everywhere, Inner Work Journal podcast. But if not with me, find someone who does inner work, people who are doing meditation and, tapping into yourself, because it starts from the inside. God puts everything that we need inside us. So before we go to here and go to there and look for this person and look for that person, everything's in us. And so, that's how God made us. And so inner work is where it is. All right. And so, yeah, it's a part of learning and growing and getting to, our better selves. That's what it's about. So as I, have this discovery for myself, maybe you're coming up with discoveries of your own about, who you are and not in ways that you even known yourself to be, or some discoveries that you're making. And now with new information, now you're able to work on it. Now I'm able to do something different than I've known to do before because it's come to me in a different way. Now, I'm still who I am, of course, but it's having the knowledge that something that I'm doing or not doing may hurt someone, I could definitely have some kind of um, I can do something about, you know, the communication. I think is where it is with um, this particular thing that I'm talking about. Because if anybody could call me toxic, that's the only thing I think, unless something else comes up that I know of, that somebody can say about me. And it's just that I don't do conflict and I haven't done conflict. And it's not been a bad totally, because I've gotten away from some bad situations because I don't do conflict. And I'm, speaking on this topic too, we got to eventually talk about how, conflict kind of spreads, as far as how we can heal some of the results from these things that happen, this dysfunction that we're trying to heal from. So how the healing can go on. And so that's something else we have to kind of touch on, or I think I will bring up in future times. But yeah, that mirror work, as we look at ourselves and figure out ourselves, that's basically shadow work. And so keep doing it and keep growing and keep learning, and as long as you are staying true to yourself as you do it, then keep doing it. Now, if someone had told me something that you know that I didn't feel was true or whatever, or it's not about people telling you, it's about you having an inner understanding of it. And now, um, yeah, it's different. And so I need healing in different ways. And so, yeah, we'll do that. So toxicity. And this one, like I said, this one piece that came my way, that's what it came down to. So I would say that the question that we can ask is, if we are connected, and it doesn't have to be just a romantic relationship, an intimate relationship, our relationships with our family, our friends, our coworkers, and in general, because it may be that you're going around barking at people all day when you go to the store, when you go to, if you take, I don't know, anything in a public arena. Are you leaving, like, you know, are you doing things that's harming people on your daily? Like, what kind of energy are you spreading as far as that's concerned? Um, yeah. So ask yourself, or with the people closest to you, is anything that we do to each other, anything that we do with each other, hurtful? Is there anything that we're doing with each other that's hurtful? I got another personal experience, like I said. I won't go too much into that, but just thinking about different things. Things are coming up now because I'm allowing that those memories to come back, and so I can think of some things that can be considered this toxic thing, right? And so it's about awareness, and that's where we can start. And we can start healing and doing something different going forward. And so that's what it's all about. And it's it's my it's my own journey, as well as me sharing and with everybody else. And so it's interesting how that is. The same thing happened when I went through chakras, which I need to do that again. I need to go over the chakras again. I did a couple years back, and I did like a focus. I did like every I think I did one a month or something. Anyway, as every chakra I focused on, things came up that was related to that chakra. And it allowed me some self-reflection. And so it's interesting how that is. And, share you all who share with others. Does that also happen for you? Because as I shared each chakra, these things came up and had me, also doing the same thing that's happening now, is like reflecting about how it affects my own life that I hadn't considered before. And so, it's helpful. It's helpful and it's beautiful too, because, the journey continues. The journey is ever continuing. And so it's a good thing. All right, y'all. So almost time, and I don't like to be longer than an hour on these things. I can ramble on though. I was looking at some old videos. Y'all don't know when I was in a robe and everything. Oh, it's interesting. I just did not. I still really don't care about that stuff. I was in my robe, my hair all kind of ways. And I used to go and get on here and talk to y'all. But that's the realest it gets, right? And so um I can't say that that won't happen in the future, because I was, those are real memorable times with y'all and talking to y'all, just, me being me. And if y'all wanted to listen, that's great. But it's more than that now. It's like, it's more of a calling that I'm answering. And so, yeah. And so, what is interesting? All right. So, as this time downs, I was just saying that, again, this journey is one that continues. I don't think it's a journey, because even when the journey in our lifetime is over, it continues. And so it's a journey. And, I don't know all the ins and outs. They say that nirvana is that last journey that we will take. We have gone through all these lifetimes and have this cumulative experience that allows us to get to this state of nirvana. Now, I'm no, expert on it. This just came to me as I'm talking. So maybe is considered the end. However, that's a point of philosophy, a thought. Um, like I said, this is something that's just coming to me, and so I don't remember where I read that either. So I couldn't tell you where to get that information. And speaking of that, I need to drop some links, because I talk about stuff, links to give you, but then I need to go ahead and follow back through and put them down there so you can access the links. All right, so, and I'll get around to that. So if you don't see the links now, check back and there will be some links there. I'm gonna get around to it. I am. If you are on this challenge this month, you can pick up the sex diet through it. Those are my pointers and tips about how to get through some of the temptations of being celibate. All right. We'll pick up the sex diet. And for those who want to know about the benefits of this lifestyle of no fap and celibacy, you can pick up Celibate 69, which will start to share some of those benefits with so many great ones. There are really so many great ones. And you can pick that up. Other than that, I'm gonna shut it down and I'm gonna see y'all again as this month goes on. Yeah. All right. And so, as usual, I hope everyone out there is well, doing well, and staying strong. You can do it. You can. It can be rough, but you can do it. And especially this full moon. Ooh, it's you can do it though. Yeah, it's a state of mind over matter. All right. Um, and that's it for now. Let me give y'all some love tonight. I think I need some love too. So let me share some love with y'all and let this go both ways. And then I'm gonna see y'all again soon. So let me give y'all some love. Ah, all right. All right, y'all. All right. Once again, this is Nimbus Intuition, love and gratitude.